Capitalism is, not to sound dramatic, but literally by definition, a cancer. It is something that creates more and more and more and more until it starts killing its host, right? AKA the people producing the labor. Hi there, and welcome to the Chaotic Business Podcast, where we do things a little bit different. I'm not about to give you the perfect business blueprint or tell you how many times to post on Instagram this week, because frankly, I don't think that's what makes good business owners successful. Don't get me wrong, there's going to be plenty of strategy here on this podcast, but it'll be more inspirational and less prescriptive, because you didn't start your own business just for somebody to tell you what to do. Welcome to the Chaotic Business Podcast. Let's get started. Hi, hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Chaotic Business Podcast. I'm so sorry for our brief hiatus that was completely unintentional, but alas, I found myself a little overwhelmed with projects. If you don't know, I run 2 different businesses and I have 3 kiddos and, a household to run, and there's only one me. And so I got a little bit overrun with things, and I have some really great interviews to share with you all. Those are coming up, but I didn't necessarily want to do interviews back to back. So I was waiting to find time to record this podcast episode. And I finally found a good time, although it's a terrible time, if we're being honest. It's so cloudy and gross out today that I'm having to use like my big fancy lights so that if you're watching this on YouTube, so that the video quality is not like super dark and hard to see everything and grainy. Anyway, not the point, not why you're here. Today, we're going to be talking about money mindset. And before you click away, this is an anti-capitalist approach to money mindset. Okay. This is not a think your problems away, or we're all in the same boat, or, anything is possible if you just believe. Like, it's not that kind of money mindset necessarily. It's a money mindset talk that has a lot more consideration for the very real obstacles and struggles that people experience under late stage capitalism, which is what we're going through right now. And basically, capitalism is, not to sound dramatic, but literally by definition, a cancer. It is something that creates more and more and more and more until it starts killing its host, right? AKA the people producing the labor, right? And that's what we're seeing now. We're seeing these billionaires, and heck, I think Bezos is on track to potentially become a trillionaire in his lifetime. I'm sorry, but nobody ever earns billions of dollars. Okay, billions can only be achieved through extraction and extortion, through taking advantage of the people actually doing the labor for you. So that is my personal belief. If you don't jive with that, that's totally okay, but this episode may not be for you. This episode is more for the people who, we want to make money. Money is not a bad thing. We love money. Money is clothes on my back and food in my children's bellies. Money is good, right? I'm not anti-money. I'm not anti-profit, okay? I am anti-capitalism because I think that the exchange of money, or the exchange of value, of services, bartering, all of it is ancient and sacred. It is a representation of reciprocation, of saying, I value you. Let me give you something in exchange for what you're giving me. It's a form of community care to pay people, right? That's how I feel. Under capitalism, none of us have enough to pay each other. And so we're constantly trying to hoard what little we have. And when I say hoard, that sounds bad. That's more what Bezos is doing. We cling to what little we have, because what if the car breaks down? We need to have savings, right? We need them in order to be safe. And so many of us don't have that. And so in this episode today, I want to talk about how we can think about money a little differently. And full disclosure, I am absolutely here repping my program. It's called Making Money as a Leftist. We start at the beginning of December. If you have any interest in joining, go to the description or the show notes, wherever. You can join now, all the way up until December 1st. I'll be accepting new people until we hit 10. There's only 10 people allowed in each round because I try to keep it really intimate, because money is an intimate topic. And sometimes that can feel weird to discuss in a group of like 70 people, But the program, there's weekly Zoom calls. There's a course that you get lifetime access to. You get the replays. There's also Voxer office hours once a week where you can come and ask me all your questions. And it's a really powerful program. People who've gone through it before have called it life-changing, which I'm very, very, very honored by. People have said that this is a must-have if you don't like capitalism, but you still need to survive under it. And how did that one person describe it? She said, if you feel like your values are getting in the way of paying your bills, you need this course. So that was very, very sweet of her. Anyway, highly recommend you join the program. A lot of what I'm saying today is based on what's in that program and inspired by it. So if you jive with this episode, you would definitely jive in the Making Money as a Leftist program. But without any further ado, let's talk about money. So like I said before, money is not the bad thing here, right? I think a lot of us have heard, money is the root of all evil. Money corrupts, money is the problem. And I really strongly disagree. Money is just a universal currency, right? So money allows us to be connected. Money is a connector. How much more powerful would that be, by the way? Instead of like every time you make money, you feel bad because money is bad. Instead, what if every time you made money, you felt like, yeah, I just connected with another human being. This is one way that we can connect. And how powerful is that, right? Like that alone can be such a big shift in our mindset. But basically, if you're like, I don't understand what you mean by a universal currency. Basically, let's say you are an alpaca farmer in Peru. And you want to design a website for your alpacas, but you're not very good with website design. You want to hire it out. And you found this website designer in Alaska who is just so talented and amazing, and you would love to hire them. But Alaska's not the best environment for alpacas, I don't think. And also getting them there would be very difficult and all this stuff. So instead of having to barter with what we have, which doesn't always work the way we want it to, we created money as a symbol of value, saying, okay, I will give you 3 alpacas worth of money in exchange for a website, and I just don't think money is a bad thing. I think money affords the donations me and my family give to my friend Aboud in Gaza, who, if you want to donate to him and help him survive this genocide, I will put his PayPal in the description. It pays for our YMCA membership, which helps our community and also helps me have a little extra childcare, which is really lovely. Money affords so much. And I know some people are like, well, it should all be free. You shouldn't have to pay for childcare. You shouldn't have to pay for the help you need. And I do understand that perspective, but the people who are taking care of my kids, I want them well taken care of. And right now, money is the way that we do that. I'm not saying there's not a future where we all depend upon one another without having to pay each other, but in our current reality, where we are not taking care of each other outside of money very well, we are not able to often, money is the way that we take care of each other. And I think that that's just a reality we have to face. I know sometimes people can say well, you should offer this for free because you're working with disadvantaged communities who don't have a lot of money. And I have to remind them that I am also part of that disadvantaged community, right? I am also autistic and ADHD and disabled. And I also need support in the form of money in order to live my life and help my kids live their lives and all of that good stuff. So yeah, money is a universal currency. It's just a stand-in for what we value. And if you value something, then you should pay for it. And if you create something of value, people should pay you. Now, a big thing that people talk to me about when we talk about money is, okay, but how do I price my stuff fairly so that it's fair for me and for my people? Where is that sweet spot? And I know they just want me to give them a number. And I would love to just give you a number, but the truth is I can't, because I don't know your people the way you do. And I don't know your financial situation as intimately as you do. The truth is that sweet spot, there's a couple ways you can find it. And I outline a lot of different ways in the Making Money as a Leftist program. But right now I'll give you one of my favorite sort of litmus tests. And that is the resentment test. If you sell something and it is so affordable, it's so cheap that when you make a sale, you feel resentful, you're like, oh, now I have to do that. Great. You're pricing it too low. Okay, you got to bump up the price. You need to be excited by sales or you're not going to continue to make sales. That's just a psychology thing, right? We need the little dopamine burst of like, I made a sale, I'm so excited. If you make a sale and you don't have that little like little celebration in your head, that's not a good thing, right? That's a sign your price needs to go up. At the same time, if you make a sale and you immediately start getting emails from your people like, wanting their money back or having some buyer's remorse or expressing doubt about their purchase, then the price might be a little too high, or it could be also that the messaging is a little bit off, so that's a possibility too. I think oftentimes we turn to the price right away as like the source of all our sales problems, but I don't think it's always the price. I think sometimes it's the way we are communicating about the offer. Finally, I want to address money guilt. Because sometimes we can feel tremendous guilt knowing that we are making money and we are well cared for when there are other people who are not. And I think that guilt is very human. I think it's okay to feel that guilt, but it doesn't mean we have to necessarily listen to it exclusively or only act from that guilt. I think it's important to remember that you are not a billionaire. You are not hoarding resources. You are not exploiting people to get resources. You may be in a better financial position than other people, and I personally believe that means we should be using the advantages we have to help others as well, right? They say like, as you climb the ladder, you got to turn around and help the next person up, right? I really believe we should be doing that, but that doesn't mean you have to do that through lowering your prices or offering discounts necessarily. I have a coach who has made over $15 million in her business, and she has donated hundreds of thousands of dollars to very specific causes that she cares about. That would not be possible if she was constantly lowering her prices or giving her money away or doing discounts constantly. This is not me advocating for like trickle down economics or some bullshit where like, oh, take care of the wealthy and then everybody else like it trickles down and they get taken care of. That's like some Reagan bullshit. No, this is me saying we need to share the wealth, but in order to share wealth, you have to have it. Right? You can't share what you do not have. You cannot give from an empty bucket. You can't pour from an empty cup, as the saying goes. And finally, the last thing I'll leave you with is remember that you count as part of your community. Self-care is community care and vice versa. When you take care of others, you are taking care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, you are enabling yourself to take care of others. It's all connected. We are all connected. And instead of shaming ourselves for doing it wrong and pretending like our measly $100 or $1,000 make any difference in the world, really, we need to be looking at the billionaires and we need to be pressuring them to not be billionaires anymore. We need there to be consequences for becoming a billionaire, right? And like, we need to tax the rich. We need to eat the rich. Like, this is the problem. I think staying focused on what the true problem is going to help you gain a lot more confidence in what you're doing. Because if you're constantly seeing yourself as the problem, then you're going to enter that freeze response. You're going to have a really hard time selling anything if you're constantly afraid that you're becoming the next Bezos. But you're not. You're really, really not. Being able to provide for yourself and have a little disposable income, or heck, maybe a lot of disposable income, does not make you an unethical, capitalistic piece of shit. Just one of the world's many billionaires could end world hunger today if they wanted. They could make sure everyone who's getting kicked off their SNAP benefits can eat for the next month. And they are choosing not to do that. And that is fucked up. Charging for your time, effort, and expertise is not fucked up. That is how the world is supposed to work. That is reciprocal. That is respectful. That is sacred exchange. I really hope this episode gave you a different mindset about money. And if this spoke to you, I really encourage you to join us inside the Making Money as a Leftist program. It's a very special place, and I think you're going to really love it. Until next time, I will see you all later. Thank you so much for listening, learning, and most importantly, implementing with us today. Go forth and take some big, messy action.